What's going on, everyone? Welcome to my little wholesale real estate series where I'm going to be explaining basic terms, making it real easy for you guys to start taking action. What better way to start the wholesale series off with the most simplest question for the people just trying to get in? And that is, what is wholesaling real estate? Wholesaling real estate is really simple. A lot of people like to make it more complicated than what it really is. It's essentially, you're just finding a seller that wants to sell a property. You're getting them under an agreement for what you guys agreed upon. Let's just say you got a seller to agree to sell their home at $60,000. We're connecting that seller to a buyer that wants to buy the property. And how we make the profit as a wholesaler, that purchase agreement we have with the seller, we can assign our interest in that contract to a buyer for a fee. And that's what it's called, an assignment fee. We have it locked in at 60, and I connect a buyer and I tell the buyer I'm selling it for $70,000 or $80,000, whatever you want to make the difference on. Let's say the buyer wants to buy it for 70,000. Now you just made that difference. You sold the contract for a $10,000 assignment fee, and the seller gets their 60,000, the buyer gets the property, and you get the difference. Now, why would buyers want to buy from a wholesaler when they could just go straight to the seller? Wholesaling and buying are way two different businesses. A lot of buyers are focused on their projects, their flips, they got their crews that they're managing. It's a whole different process than a wholesaler managing his business and working on getting the leads, working on his team, his acquisition team, his closing team, trying to close a deal, negotiate the deal. It's a lot of work into getting that contract. So buyers, it's hard for a buyer to do that whole side of the business and then manage their whole side on the buying side as well and finishing the project. It makes it much easier on the buyer where they don't have to do that whole process of getting that contract because sometimes it takes months and months and months before a seller says yes to the terms. It's way easier for the buyer just to pay the wholesaler 10 grand if the numbers still pencil out on the flip side or even on the buy and hold side. So it works out. A lot of buyers do like working with wholesalers, and they're fine paying that $10,000 assignment or $20,000 assignment if it still makes sense for them at the end of the day. That's what wholesaling is. You are finding a seller that wants to sell their property, and you're connecting that seller to a buyer that wants to buy the property. It's that simple. It's just like going to the grocery store. The grocery store is finding the blueberries for cheaper and selling it to the customer for higher, and they're keeping the difference. That's what wholesaling is. There are a lot more in between things that we will get into, but on a broad overview, we're connecting seller to buyer or buyer to seller. Doesn't matter.